The vast throne room of the Cerulean Palace glittered with crystalline formations that caught the light of 3 distant suns. High Empress Kayla sat upon her elevated throne, her purple skin shimmering as she glared down at the line of suitors. Before her, they had come from every corner of the galaxy. Powerful alien princes, wealthy merchants, and decorated war heroes. All had brought magnificent gifts, hoping to win her favor, but the Empress remained unmoved. Her forearms crossed over her chest as she dismissed the 7th suitor of the day with a casual wave. This one, a tusked warlord from the Proxima system, stormed away, his pride wounded more than his heart. The Empress was known throughout the galaxy, not only for her unparalleled beauty and intelligence, but for her impossible standards. No male of any species had ever impressed her enough to earn even a second audience. At the very end of the line stood a human, Kate Miller, an unassuming diplomat from Earth. She was nothing, special by galactic standards, lacking extra limbs, bioluminescence, or telepathic abilities. Just a simple human with light brown hair and eyes the color of Earth oceans, yet she stood tall, showing none of the nervousness the alien males had displayed. Yachi. Court Herald looked confused when Kate stepped forward. My Empress, this one claims to represent Earth in diplomatic matters, but she has registered as a suitor. The herald announced, his multiple mouths speaking in perfect unison. The throne room filled, with murmurs and clicking sounds of amusement. Humans were still newcomers to the galactic community, barely 2 decades since first contact. They were seen as primitive, curious creatures whose technology had advanced faster than their culture. Empress, Kyla uncrossed her lower set of arms and leaned forward slightly, her 6 eyes narrowing in curiosity. A human female seeks my hand. How unprecedented, she said, her voice musical despite the condescension. Tell me, Earth creature, what makes you think you are worthy of my consideration? Kate smiled rather than cowering. You misunderstand, Your Highness. I come not as a traditional suitor. I come with something none of these others have offered. The Empress gestured for her to continue, suddenly intrigued. Offer nothing, she said. The court erupted in laughter while the Empress raised a hand to silence them. You offer nothing and expect to succeed, where the wealthiest and most powerful in the galaxy have failed. How very human. Kate took 3 steps forward, ignoring the guards who tensed at her approach. For centuries you have been offered riches, territory, alliances, and power by those who want something from you. Kate spoke clearly. Each gift came with expectations, obligations, and limitations. I offer you freedom. The freedom to choose based on connection rather than calculation. The Empress stood up for the first time during the audiences. Her 12-foot frame towered over the human woman. The royal advisors gasped. Never had the Empress shown such interest. What game are you playing, human? The Empress asked, her voice lower now. No game, Your Highness, Kate replied. On Earth we have an old saying. The most valuable gifts cannot be wrapped. Because I respect you, I bring only myself, my honesty, and my offer of true partnership between equals. Something changed in the Empress' expression. Her upper right hand gestured, and the entire court was dismissed, leaving only Kate and the Empress in the cavernous hall. For 3,000 years I have ruled the Cerulean Empire, and for 3,000 years I have been pursued for my power. Never for myself, the Empress said, descending the crystal steps of her throne. Until now, no one has seen past my crown to the person who wears it. Kate stood, her ground as the imposing alien ruler circled her. Tell me, human, what would you do with my power if I chose you? Nothing. The human answered, it is yours. I have no interest in ruling an empire. I only wish to know the woman who does. The Empress stopped, her circuit standing directly before Kate. She lowered herself until their faces were nearly level. In all my centuries, no one has ever sought to know me. They have only sought to possess what I have. What is your name? Human Kate Miller, she answered, Your Highness. The Empress reached out with one slender purple hand and touched Kate's cheek. Kate Miller of Earth, you have accomplished what the most powerful beings in the galaxy could not. You have earned my interest. The days that followed were unlike anything the Cerulean court had ever witnessed. The Empress canceled all other audiences and spent her time exclusively with the human diplomat. Kate was given private quarters in the royal wing, an honor previously unheard of for any visitor. Let alone a human palace. Servants whispered about the strange conversations that echoed from the royal gardens. Kate asked questions no one had dared ask before about Zerulean culture, the Empress herself, and the weight of ruling such a vast empire. And stranger still, the Empress answered. Kala showed Kate the secret chambers beneath the palace where ancient technology from the first days of Zerulean space travel was preserved. These were treasures no outsider had ever seen. Yet the human showed more interest in the stories behind them than their value. What was it like the first time your people reached the stars? Kate asked, as they walked among the preserved ships. Kayla paused, her lower arms touching the hull of a primitive vessel. I was not yet born, but our histories tell of fear and wonder in equal measure. We were not prepared for what we found. And what did you find? Kate asked. That we were not alone, and not as powerful as we believed. Kayla replied. The galaxy humbled us. It is a lesson many species, including some of yours, still need to learn. Kate nodded. We humans are still learning that lesson. I think. The Empress studied her with all 6 eyes. You are different from the other humans I have met. Less afraid, more curious. Most humans sent to meet you are politicians and military leaders, Kate explained with a small smile. They worry about saying the wrong thing. I am just a cultural diplomat. My job is to understand, not to impress. The Empress made a sound Kate had never heard before. It took her a moment to realize Kayla was laughing. Perhaps that is why you succeed where they fail, human. You do not try. Days turned to weeks. Ambassador Lily Washington, the official Earth representative, demanded to know what was happening. The Zerulean court had fallen into chaos as the unprecedented situation unfolded. The Empress had never shown interest in any suitor. Now she spent every day with this human female. The Grand Vizier, a tall, spindly alien, with translucent skin through which his 3 hearts could be seen pulsing with anxiety, paced outside the royal chambers. This is highly irregular, he muttered to the Earth ambassador. The Empress has duties, responsibilities. She cannot simply abandon them for your diplomat. Ambassador Washington raised an eyebrow. Kate Miller is not acting under our instructions, I assure you. She registered as a suitor of her own accord. The Vizier made a high-pitched whistling sound of distress. Then we must separate them. The stability of the empire is at stake. Inside the royal chambers, Kate sat beside Kayla on a floating platform that hovered above a pool of glowing liquid. The Empress had removed her ceremonial armor, revealing a simpler form beneath, still imposing, but somehow more vulnerable. They speak of separating us, Kala said without looking at Kate. Her enhanced hearing had picked up the conversation outside. Kate looked at her. Do you wish to be separated? The Empress turned, all 6 eyes blinking. In sequence, no, I find your presence restful. There are no demands in your words, no hidden agendas. I have not felt this way since I was a child, before the crown was placed upon my head. Kate smiled. You must have friends, allies, people you trust. Kayla shook her head slowly. When you rule 1,000 worlds, friendship is a luxury you cannot afford. Trust is a weakness others will exploit. Allies want only what you can give them. Kate reached out hesitantly, then placed her hand on one of the Empress' lower arms. That sounds very lonely. The Empress did not pull away as she would have done with anyone else. It is the price of power. Kate thought for a moment, then asked, Do you think it has to be? Before Kayla could answer, the doors burst open, and the Grand Vizier entered, flanked by royal guards and Ambassador Washington. Your Majesty, he began. His voice strained. The Council demands your presence. The Traxian delegation threatens war over the mining rights in the Outer Rim. Your absence has been interpreted as an insult. Kayla rose to her full height, her presence suddenly commanding. Tell the Council I will join them shortly, and inform the Traxian delegation that if they wish for war, the Zerulean Empire will oblige them. The Vizier bowed low, relief evident in his posture. Ambassador Washington stepped forward. Ms. Miller, your presence is requested at the Earth Embassy. The Admiral wishes to speak with you about your extended absence from your duties. Kate stood looking from the ambassador. To the Empress duty calls, it seems, she said with a small smile. The Empress watched as Kate followed the Earth ambassador from the chamber. Something flashed in her multiple eyes, something none of her subjects had ever seen. Regret. Admiral Diane Porter was not pleased. The holographic projection of her stern face hovered above the desk in the small office Kate had been given at the Earth Embassy. You were sent to establish cultural relations, not to court the most powerful. Being in this sector of the galaxy, the Admiral said, her voice clipped. What exactly do you think you are doing? Miller Kate sat straight in her chair, meeting the Admirals. Gaze my job, Admiral. I am learning about their culture, their values, their ways. Exactly what I was sent to do. The Admiral leaned forward, causing her projection to distort slightly by registering as a suitor to the Empress. Are you out of your mind? The diplomatic implications alone. With respect, Admiral Kate interrupted the suitor. Process was the only way to gain private audience with the Empress. Otherwise, my contact would have been limited to formal functions where real cultural exchange is impossible. The Admiral was silent for a moment. And what exactly have you learned? From these private audiences, Kate thought carefully before answering. The Zerulean Empire is not as stable as it appears. The Empress is isolated from her people by layers of tradition and ceremony. She has no real friends, no confidants, only subjects and rivals. This makes her vulnerable despite her power, and a vulnerable Empress means a vulnerable empire. The Admiral raised an eyebrow. Go on, the Zeruleans value strength above all else, but their definition is limited to military might and territorial control. Kate continued. Their empire has expanded too quickly, consuming resources faster than they can be replaced. Many of the worlds under their control are on the brink of rebellion. And how does this help? Earth Kate leaned forward. The Empress is interested in human adaptability, our creativity, our different definition of strength. If we can form a genuine alliance not based on fear or domination, but mutual respect, we could have the most powerful ally in this sector. The Admiral was quiet. For a long moment, I see, and has your relationship with the Empress remained professional? Kate felt her face flush slightly. Entirely professional. Admiral, the projection flickered as the Admiral sighed. You will continue your meetings with the Empress, but you will report everything directly to me. Is that clear? Crystal clear. Admiral, after the call ended, Kate stood at the window of her office looking out at the alien city that spread below the embassy. The Zerulean capital was a marvel of crystalline architecture, spires that seemed to grow from the purple soil rather than being built. Buildings that changed color with the movement of the three suns. Vehicles that floated silently between structures like schools of fish. A soft chime indicated. Someone at her door entered, she called, turning from the window. A young human diplomat, Lucy Chen, stood in the doorway. Ems. Miller, there is a delivery for you. From the palace, Kate followed Lucy to the embassy receiving area where a massive crystalline container sat pulsing with soft blue light. Two Zerulean royal guards stood beside it, their armor gleaming. The royal guard captain approached Kate and bowed slightly. The Empress sends this gift with her compliments. Kate approached the container cautiously. What is it? The captain pressed a sequence on the side and the crystal walls became transparent, revealing a miniature garden inside, perfect replicas of earth plants, growing alongside Zerulean flora, creating a harmony of colors and shapes that was breathtaking. A message crystal rests within, the captain said. The Empress requests your presence at the palace tomorrow, at first light. After the guards departed, Lucy stared at the gift in awe. I have never seen the Empress send a personal gift to anyone, she whispered. Is it true what they say? That she has chosen you? Kate carefully extracted the message crystal from among the plants. I don't think anyone chooses the Empress, Lucy. She does the choosing in the privacy of her quarters. Kate activated. The crystal, a holographic image of Kayla, appeared smaller than life, but still imposing. Kate Miller of Earth. I find your absence disturbs my thoughts. The Zerulean voice was softer than Kate had heard it before. I would speak with you again. Tomorrow, I will show you something no outsider has seen. The crystal goes dark. Kate sat on her bed, turning the now dormant crystal in her hands. The Empress was the most powerful being in this part of the galaxy. Ruler of 1,000 worlds, commander of fleets that could reduce planets to dust. What could she possibly want from a simple human diplomat? Sleep came uneasily that night, dreams of purple skin and 6 eyes watching her haunted Kate. The weight of worlds seemed to press down on her chest. He woke before dawn, feeling as though she had not slept at all. A royal transport waited outside the embassy. Kate boarded, finding herself alone in the luxurious cabin. As they soared above the capital city, she watched the 3 suns rise in sequence, turning the crystal buildings into prisms that scattered rainbow light across the landscape. The transport did not head toward the palace. Instead, it flew beyond the city limits over vast purple plains, toward a mountain range that glowed with internal light. Kate's heart beat faster. Where was she being taken? The transport landed on a small plateau halfway up the largest mountain. No buildings were visible, only a simple archway carved into the rock face. Kala waited there alone, without guards or advisors. She wore simple clothing by Zerulean standards, though the fabric still shifted colors with her movements. You came, the Empress said as Kate approached. I did, Kate replied. Did you think I would not? The Empress made that strange sound again, the one Kate now recognized as laughter. Humans are unpredictable. I have learned this much from you. Kate smiled. What is this place? The birthplace of my species, Kala said, turning toward the archway. Follow me, human. They passed through the arch into a tunnel that glowed with bioluminescent fungi. The air grew warmer. As they descended deeper into the mountain, the tunnel opened suddenly into a vast cavern. Kate gasped at the sight. A massive underground lake stretched before them, its waters glowing with the same blue light as the gift Kayla had sent Crystalline. Formations rose from the water, creating natural bridges and islands. Throughout the cavern, Zeruleans moved about, but these looked different from those Kate had seen at court. Their skin was paler, their movements more fluid. They wore no clothing or ornaments, the true form of my people, Kala said softly. Before the wars, before the Empire, before we learned to cover ourselves in armor and pretense. Kate watched as the pale Zeruleans swam through the glowing water, their movements graceful and coordinated like a dance. They are beautiful, she whispered. Kayla led Kate along a crystal path that extended over the water. We began as aquatic beings, evolving to spend more time on land as our world changed. The palace, the city, the Empire, all are constructs. We built them to protect ourselves from others and eventually from ourselves. Why show me this? Kate asked. The Empress stopped gazing out over the lake. In 3,000 years, I have brought no one here. Not my advisors, not my generals. No, one. This place is sacred to my people. Kate stood silent, understanding the magnitude of what she was being shown. When I became Empress, I was forbidden to return here. Kayla continued. The ancient laws state that once crowned, we must leave behind our origins. To rule is to be separate. But I come in secret when the burden becomes too great. I remember who we were before power changed us. Do all Zeruleans know about this place? Kate asked. No, most believe the stories are myths, tales to tell children. Their lives are spent in cities of crystal and metal. They have forgotten the water from which we came. Kate watched a group of young Zeruleans playing in the shallows. Why risk showing me? Kala turned, all 6 eyes focusing on Kate. Because you offered nothing. Because you seek to know, not to possess. Because in your eyes I see no fear, no greed, only curiosity. Kate felt something shift between them, a barrier dissolving. Your people call me queen, but that word is inadequate. Kayla said. The Zerulean concept is deeper, more complex. I am bound to my people as they are bound to me. Their fate is mine. I cannot choose myself above them. Kate nodded slowly, beginning to understand. That is why you rejected all suitors. They wanted your power, not your burden. Yes. The Empress moved closer. Until now, no one has understood what it means to rule as I do. They stood in silence, watching the pale Zeruleans swim in patterns that seemed random, but gradually revealed a complex harmony. Is it lonely? Kate asked. Finally, being separate? Kala did not answer immediately. When she spoke, her voice was softer than Kate had ever heard it. Yes, human. It is the greatest loneliness imaginable. To be surrounded by thousands yet understood by none. Kate reached out hesitantly and touched one of Kayla's hands. The Empress did not pull away. I cannot pretend to understand the weight you carry. Kate said, but I would listen if you wished to share it. Something glistened in Kayla's eyes. A moisture that caught the blue light. The Zerulean Empire stands at a crossroads, Kala said. We have conquered, expanded, consumed, but our path leads to destruction. My scientists tell me we have depleted resources faster than they can recover. Our conquered worlds grow restless. Our enemies grow bold. I fear I will be the last empress to rule a united empire. Kate considered this. The implications were enormous. Earth had only recently joined the galactic community. If the Zerulean Empire collapsed, the power vacuum could trigger wars across the sector. Have you considered a different path? Kate asked carefully. Not conquest, but cooperation. Not subjects, but allies. Kayla made a dismissive gesture. My council would never accept such weakness. Is adaptation weakness? Kate pressed. Or is it strength? To recognize when change is needed rather than clinging to traditions that lead to ruin. The Empress stared at Kate for a long moment. Perhaps this is why the universe brought you to me, human, to show me a different kind of strength. They spent hours by the lake Kayla sharing stories of Zerulean history that were not found in any official records. Kate offering perspectives from Earth's long history of rise and fall of empires. As the time passed, Kate realized she was seeing something no diplomat from Earth had ever seen: the true face of the most powerful being in the galaxy.